Our topic today is getting higher email open rates, which is something that we're all aware of, that being a challenge, and we want higher open rates. Just to mention quickly that Function Fox is a sponsor of these sessions, and they have a fantastic timesheet and project management software for creative professionals. And as part of the membership here, you get a free 3-month trial with Function Fox. Has anybody taken up, Basile, have you contacted them at all or anything?
No, I ended up going with another company called HubSpot. Done a lot of research for the past 2 months. It's got other tools that are necessary, but when I have a chance, I will take a look at Function.
Okay. Just curious to know if anybody's using it. It was mostly it was recommended to me by people in the group. Okay, so let's get right into our topic. High email open rates. Are you guys all doing email marketing currently? No? So it's something you want to get into? Or you're considering?
I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth on it just because I don't know. I know I get emails from my suppliers and I tend to just delete them. And so I've kind of wanted to get into it and I've kind of hesitated about it.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Do you open some emails? We all open some.
Okay.
There's a lot that we don't open, right? So think about the ones that you open. Why do you open them?
It's the relevance.
Yeah.
It's relevance, exactly. Exactly.
In short.
Relevance. Yeah, I mean, some you open and you're like, oh my God. Although people are doing less and less of that and finding those long newsletter type things. But it's all about relevance in email marketing. I think, I've been doing it since I started my business, like in 2010. And also it was terrifying the first time I did it. Like the first one I set up, I made a contact list with everybody I knew to announce that I had started a business. And, I had like a couple hundred people and, I was like terrified. I proofread it 25 times, spell checked it, was like terrified, like thinking, oh my God, I hope I'm not bothering people. I hope I'm not pissing them off. So I sent this thing out. It was just like, here's what I'm doing and here's why I'm doing it. And just wanted to get the word out. And like, so many people wrote me back and said, congratulations, thank you. I'm glad that you shared this with me. So that gave me a little bit more confidence. I was kind of like, okay, so they didn't hate it. So that gives me a little bit more confidence. And what I learned, and it's definitely become tougher. I noticed in the last year, so I started doing it in 2010 and started getting a lot of momentum and a lot of opens. And I'm going to talk about topics in a couple of minutes, but it's definitely become tougher because everybody's jumped on that same bandwagon and there's so much noise. So it's definitely become tougher to get those opens, but I'm still managing to get them. And the key to it is bang on what Ted said, it's relevance. It's the ones that are really relevant to you. And I'll give you an example. Last year I was doing a promotion to larger design firms about business development. And I had done business development for so many years for design firms. So I knew what all the problems are. And I sent out this email. I just sent it to about 20 people, maybe, not a lot. They were mostly referred to me, larger firms. And my subject, hi Marnie.
Hi.
My subject line on these emails on this particular email that I sent out was, is your business development person wasting your time? Because I had spoken to so many design firms who had told me their business development person is really wasting their time. And I also knew that when I was first 20, 30 years ago, the business development person at a design firm, I was wasting a lot of their time, dragging them around to meetings that didn't pan out. So the subject, is your business development person wasting your time, got 130% opens. I only sent it to 20 people. So each person had opened it like 10 times. And actually, a firm in England contacted me and gave me a project just out of that email to 20 people, because it was so relevant and so compelling. So the emails that you want to send are, so first we'll talk about subjects, and then we'll talk about how to get started. So email subjects, you want them so compelling that they get opened. And I always use this small boutique, a small advertising agency that was mostly doing work for boutique hotels. And some of you may have heard me tell this story before. But what they did was they interviewed their clients, and it was kind of part of working with me and my process. I have everybody interview their clients. So they interviewed their clients, and they asked them what the biggest challenge was in the boutique hotel business. And they said, it's getting the rooms filled. We have to compete against all these big guys. And, it's really hard to keep these rooms filled. So they started sending out email linking to their blog and all kinds of content around keeping your rooms filled, because that was like the hot button topic for these clients, this client group. And what started happening was people started responding to their email and calling them and saying, I want to talk to you. You get it. You get what we're doing here. You get what our challenges are. And I want to talk to you. And they had, like, within about 4 months of doing this, they had about four potential projects on the table with their exact perfect clients. And they got 2 of them, I think. But the topic was so relevant it was so relevant to the people. So often as creative businesses, we're sending out emails saying, here's what we're up to, and here's the awards we won lately, and here's some of our news, and here's projects that we're working on. But they don't really care that much, so they don't open them. But if you sent them an email with something that is a hot button issue that they are struggling, that they're struggling with, what do you think? They're going to open it, right?
Eventually. When they have a minute.
No, if you get an email, think about it. If you get an email and it's something that you're dealing with right now, you're going to open it. No,
I'm kidding. You do. You open it. You may not have time to read the whole body of it and get completely immersed at that moment, but yes, it's right. You just want, like, oh, that answers my problem.
Right. Exactly.
It's engaging, right? It's engaging. Yes.
Exactly. So let's go and play around with that a little bit. I sent you a handout. I have it here too. Where is it? Hang on, let me just grab it. Okay, so let's play around a little bit with this. How to get high email open rates. So write down 3 problems that your clients come to you to solve. And you probably see the same things over and over, just like the boutique hotel people found out. The more clients they spoke to, the more the same problem kept coming up. So 3 problems your clients come to you to solve.
I had a hard time with this actually, and because sometimes I get too general and then I just feel lost. So I just started asking myself, what are 3 problems that of late clients have had that we have been hired to help solve? So they're a little bit more detailed, but I just went that route trying to.
So what are they? What have you got?
My first one is that, and I'll just read them to you because I did my little thing yesterday. So in a large retail center, the architect's goal was for people to get lost in order to discover more at the center. This was a great idea in theory, but when people felt lost, they also felt frustrated.
So what does that mean, felt to get lost? I don't get that.
They didn't know where they were going. They didn't know where they were. They didn't know how to get where they wanted to go.
So was it like a signage kind of problem?
Yes. So then you said lists another problem that was the result of,
So customers getting lost.
Right. Customers. So the project is finished. They need to invite people in, or you get those one too. But so the people start to come, and then they're inside, and they're like, we don't really know how to get in. We don't really know how to get out. We don't really know where the shops are, where the hotel is. We don't know where the office is. We just don't know how to navigate.
That's like really a problem.
It's huge. It's a huge problem that they have. And so this whole concept, the architects, concept was really an interesting one. And they were trying to be clever and creative and create this experience. But it's like, but people also have an objective when they come to a retail center. They want to go to us. They want to know where the stores are. They want to know where their restaurant is. They want to know where, they want to know how to get in and get out. Where's the parking?
So what's the real problem that you could put in an email?
People were getting lost at a location, I guess.
Yeah. Are people, finding their way? Are they showing up where you want them to show up? Something like that.
Right.
Are customers showing up where you want them? I don't know, something like that. But
yeah, are they able to find their way? Right.
Who else has one they want to share? What have you got, Ted?
Mine are kind of different. I thought again too of recent projects that I've done, and can I get some numbers to use in advertising campaigns? This was something Playtex Sport used in Canada. I don't know if you've seen it, but they wanted the high school girls and inequity in sports between genders.
And just so you guys know, Ted does market research.
Yeah. The other one was, how can I refine these concepts? I have some concepts and I'm going to go to test them. How can I refine them to, make sure they get their say in front of the consumer before
right.
How can I make them the best that they can be? And then is our stuff, a lot of it, packaging. I've been doing a lot of packaging research lately, but are our packages ready for the consumer on the shelf?
Good one, yeah.
So you do focus groups? Are you doing focus groups for that, or surveys, or what types of things?
Focus groups for the one client in particular. Yeah. So it's tough to do surveys on packaging, just because this is for an insole company, and the packaging is so people touch it.
Okay.
But you can see how much more meat there is to those topics, as opposed to saying, hey, here's what we're up to these days.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Who else has one they want to share? What have you got, Vasil? Oh, okay. Eric?
It's going back to what was said earlier, I look at things that were recent. And so a client came to us that was participating in a trade show, and the issues that they had in the past were that the particular show that they were presenting at, the people that were there didn't know what they did. They were, they basically developed adhesives that went into packaging, and what they were doing was they were developing their messaging in their booth around the industry itself. And so they looked like a packaging company or a product company. And so when they came to us, we would basically, the issue that they were having was a lot of what they would consider leads were coming to them and saying, oh, what do you guys do? Where that shouldn't be the case at a show. They should be walking up with
Right.
that understanding, right?
That's a major one.
Yeah, so that was that happens a lot. We do a lot of trade events, and then another one was.
So what would you put as the subject of your email?
Are you portraying the right message at a trade show?
Mm-hmm. Or are people getting what you do?
Yeah, you do. Customers know what you do.
Yeah, are people understand?
Yeah. At trade shows or something like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyone else? What have you got, Vasil?
So the problems are very related to what we offer. So help design an app, help develop an app, help fix a poorly designed digital product. There's a lot of questions around how to approach investors and what's the best way to get capital. So think things around that.
So you've got lots there.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share theirs?
Sure. We're working with some developers who are developing both condominium and rental projects, not in the part of the city where all the hot development is going on, but it's to reach a different audience at a different price point. And it's really to rise above the clutter and why they would want to live in the city, but not in the city center per se. Mm-hmm.
So what would your subject be around all that?
So maybe something like advantages of city living in city outskirts, or how to compete with harbor development, or
But who are you sending this to?
so developers,
You're sending it to developers. Okay.
because they're looking for tenants and buyers.
Right. So you're doing work to help promote them.
Correct.
Okay. So the subject to a developer would be?
I mean, they're looking to fill their properties with renters or buyers,
Right.
who are not looking in those neighborhoods because they're unaware that the price point in those neighborhoods are so much more competitive, or so much more within their budget.
So it's could be like looking to fill your building with renters or buyers.
Right.
You know, I think they would open that.
Yeah.
So if you go down a little bit, I've said take each one, and this is just kind of to get you a whole bunch of ideas. But if you take each one and create another problem as a result of the main problem and get 3 more. So if you drill down a little bit further, do you get even more topics and something more meaty?
Yeah, more problems.
Someone, does somebody have some background noise or speaker on or something? Somebody just wrote me that I'm sounding a bit distorted.
I
I'm
think
not
it's
sure.
by a speaker. Like
Someone's.
if you have a Bluetooth to speaker, then it causes that distortion.
Oh, it's not me, I don't think. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you, it's just distorted.
Oh, really? Is it distorted for everybody? No, it's
Mm-mm.
okay.
Every once, just like right then, but it's like you're like goes right. Okay, like it just sometimes has a moment of, I don't know, a word, but not the whole thing. I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, good. Sometimes the Zoom does a bit weird things, but it's usually pretty good.
You can get the gist of it.
So when you drill down a bit, what happens?
Well, I started before, so I'll start this one if you want.
Sure.
Mine was touchy because I can see as I write these problems down and I write these topics down that I also have to be careful. I mean, maybe it's just this particular job that we did because we created graphics that we're not trying to pitch ourselves as a signage design firm because that's a very specific type of design and it's more architectural, and we do some of that with partners, but we don't pretend like we're a signage firm. But this was more like helping to create some artwork and graphics that just instinctively help people to know where to go. So I just put additional graphics could conflict with existing planned site art and traditional wayfinding graphics. And then also graffiti. This is a downtown LA property and graffiti is an issue. So graffiti, cost, time are all issues. So we had to be sensitive to all those things in the project.
Okay. And if you get involved in signage, remind me to introduce you to Katie Osborne.
Oh, that's right. She's the one whose business grew 2,000%.
Yeah. But she's got an amazing little
signage design.
firm.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
really?
in New York, Brooklyn.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. Cool.
Just as a little aside. But yeah, so when you drill down, you can get some even juicier stuff.
Right.
So it's kind of keep asking.
Right.
Anybody else come up with some even more? How about you, Ed? I haven't heard from you. What are you coming up with?
So hiding in the back of the class didn't do it, huh?
No.
I'm a little distracted. I'm not getting very far yet.
Okay. Just wanted to check in.
Yes, thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thanks for calling me out. I appreciate that.
How about we haven't heard from Philip?
Sure. Also, I started with, a client comes to us and they've acquired another company. And so now they're going to merge, and they don't know how to move forward from a brand strategy perspective. And then drilling in a little bit deeper, they don't know which brand has more equity. So which one they would retain or whether or not they should ditch both brands and create a new one.
So what would your subject be?
That's the $1 million question, I guess. I'm not sure. Like
something about merger. I would have merger in there, and
yeah. Sure. It's the issue for us comes because we when we do these email campaigns, it's usually to a large group of people, and a lot of these issues like M&A work and stuff. It's hard for us to single out those companies because we don't know who is merging or acquiring at any given point in time. So that's like our M&A mailings get really low response rates because I'm sure it falls on a whole bunch of deaf ears.
Right, because if it's not relevant to them.
Yeah.
What's something that's a relevant problem with a lot of them?
It's hard to say because we do so much different kind of work and different clients, but I know, like, we get a whole bunch of people that come to us for like a visual identity refresh. You know, they've had the same logo for 5 years,
but why? Why do they come? Why do they want to do that?
Because a lot of their materials are moving more heavily into digital, and they need a logo and visual system that plays better to all of these different digital ecosystems.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the story you want to tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they're, moving into, their current materials aren't working for digital systems, probably a lot of people would be interested in hearing about that.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody else have a question, or do you want to get some input from the group? Or do you need some help with yours?
Well, I guess my question is, how specific do we want to get? I guess do we also want to just keep in mind that we want to phrase these and we want to craft these to make sure they're aligned with the types of projects we really want to attract? Is that really our goal too? Because I think for me, it was kind of just the exercise first of trying to get down on paper and trying to think in this fashion, like trying to think this way. And then get it, dump it all out as much as I could, and then come back to it and try to organize it based on your worksheet. And so some things I felt like were much more broad, some things were much more specific, and then it's more like, I guess the question is, which of these types of jobs do we want to continue to do?
Right.
Well,
of course. You don't want to send out something about something you don't. You want to send out something about identity if you hate that work.
Right. Oh yeah. Right. But I just guess too, it's just the width that's like the broad to the narrow. And maybe this is more like a research question. It's just something where you have to get it out there and start testing, like so it would be interesting once we get the email campaign going, which things are attracting people, the things that are more specific, like this specific, do you experience this specific issue when you know?
Well, like how I said, as your business development person wasting your time, it's pretty specific.
Very.
God bless you. So now you have, you should have about 6 topics or maybe more. This was just to kind of give you a real quick brainstorm on what you could be doing here. And then the next thing to do is jot down 1 or 2 points beside each one that you could that will help you get started in writing the body of the email. So my goal for this was for you to have a lot to work with when you leave this session.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a meeting after this with my writer.
Oh, perfect.
I'm stuck. I know I have too much in here, and my head is spinning. It's ew.
Well, I think so. That brings up an issue that I know that we have is, even going through a process like this, we end up sounding very cliche, very just like your average sales email.
Yeah.
By to build on that issue. We can, redesigning your visual system so it's more compatible with digital is gonna, has shown to increase revenue by X%. And even when I read it, I'm like, I don't buy it.
Okay, well that's good, because you want it to be a little more real, right?
Yeah.
A little more user friendly. And I get these emails. I won't say the name of the firm, but I get these emails from this firm here in Toronto, and it's a big firm, and they email out regularly, and I've told their subjects are so technical. I can't even think of one now, but their subjects are totally technical, no client will get it. And then the body of it also, it's the technical market research statistics, and I don't think anybody gets it. I once actually met them and said, how are your email open rates? And they told me they were really low. And I said, they could be more client driven and more user friendly. And I don't know if they listened to me or not, but but they continue to send these like really, they feel technical, they feel kind of fake. And that's, I think, another thing in this is you want to like make it for real people. It's a real person opening it that's trying to do a good job and has certain challenges. And I think you want to write it that way, like with the kind of tone that you're really talking to a person. And, you may be emailing to 1,000 people, but you have to remember that you're talking to one person at a time. And it's like, hi, is this going on for you? We're noticing this is going on for a lot of clients. And we've got some solutions here that we think can help. And, here's some questions. And also like give them a little bit of like, here are some questions you may want to ask yourself. Like it's kind of like give them more instead of just information. Like, ask yourself these 3 questions and we're here kind of thing. You could also bring them to your blog, bring them to a blog. We just did a post on, how to stop working with business development people that are wasting your time. Here's the link. And that was something that I did when I first started my emailing back in 2010, was I sent them like a really, and I try to keep them very short, really short email that would say, want to know more about this? Here's the link. Like, here's one idea, and then you want to know more? Here's the link. And they go to my blog and read the blog, bring traffic to my site, and, just make activity happen. So I think also being more authentic, and I always talk about client driven. So it's like really focused on a real person and what they're experiencing so that it feels like for real stuff. Does that help?
Yes.
I guess I have a question for the group. When you do receive, even if it's a relevant marketing email for you, I typically do not click on any links in any kind of sales or marketing email because it's usually coming from like a sender that I don't know, and I'm especially sensitive to like any kind of like cybersecurity threats. Like, is there a good way to format these emails so they're less concerned about something like that, or does anybody else see that as an issue?
My question would be, do they know where they're clicking? So like Rhonda, if you're saying, if you want to know more, like you just try to get the little topic out there and then learn more on my blog. So then that's linked to a blog. Now, granted, it could be, I guess if it could be, I don't know what the term is, but it could be taking you somewhere that's not the blog. But I don't know about that. What about our market research person? Do you know
anything about that?
Do you have any insights?
I don't know. We have the same problem with sending emails when we use like a customer list and we want to do a survey. They need to know it's trusted, and so the main things we've done is make sure we comply with all the CAN-SPAM stuff on the bottom. So in Constant Contact and MailChimp and all those, they help you do that. We always include how we know them. So kind of like, I think of it as kind of like LinkedIn. When I'm linking with someone that I've worked with in the past, I always say, remember the project we worked on? I'd love to connect with you professionally. Because I don't count on, if we have communicated with them in the past, or if we're going under the logo of our client, I don't count on them remembering that they're a customer. And so I feel like I need to remind them, oh yeah, you bought Superfeet insoles in the last year online.
Right.
and I'm doing this work for them. And so, but I think I have not done things, not followed links because I was worried that it might not be, because I didn't really know who it was coming from, and I don't know that there's a way around it, unfortunately.
What kinds of email programs are you guys using?
MailChimp and Constant Contact.
Yeah.
Campaign Monitor.
Emma.
Yeah, I've heard of Emma a lot.
I've used Emma for my clients for years, but I also use MailChimp.
Mm-hmm.
They're just more friendly. I think part of the trust factor is how narrowly it's niched. If you're really authentic and speaking to something that's really about them, I think that they'll trust it more. If it's really broad, they're going to throw it away anyway. So don't you think that creates trust as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, and awareness. I would think the more you mail out and the more familiarity they might have with your firm, whether they're using you or not, or whether they need you or not, the more they become familiar with you in different places. Also, they may feel more comfortable. I don't know. I mean, I would.
And do you all have a mailing list that you're working with? No? Does anybody?
Kind of.
Does anybody? Okay, so who has a mailing list?
I have the starter one. It's not really that great, I don't think, at the moment.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same spot. I got one. In fact, we've been talking about it. It's like it needs some serious overhaul.
Right. And how did you get your list started, Marnie?
Last year I signed up for Insightly, which is, something that I had these great plans for doing this wonderful business development and email outreach and keeping it all organized in this Insightly thing. It's like a sales tracking, whatever, software program that you subscribe to. And so I started just taking a little time each week to do research in some of the trades, as in the area that we work in, which is commercial real estate development, destinations, retail, office, hotel, and just started making lists of developers and sort of trying to qualify them. And then I also wanted to pull from all the people who have contacted us for potential new business and put them in there. And then also architects. So referral sources, architects, engineers, landscape architects, just trying to, just build.
So what's Insightly?
You know what? I haven't even been there in a million years. So it's a small business. My understanding is it's a small business sales management like a user-friendly CRM, consumer relationship marketing, small business, what it is. So I don't even know if our subscription is even valid anymore, to be honest. I hope it is, but I haven't even looked at it.
How I got my list going was I put something on my site that people would want to opt in for. And we've done that for a bunch of you guys. Like, we've done that, Ed, right? You want to tell everybody?
Sure. I think through. I think I developed this. What do we call it? Run a brand scorecard, legacy brand scorecard,
Right.
and I kind of developed it from some stuff that Ron had given me and some other stuff that I had on hand, and so we put that up. We also have a naming evaluation sheet. In fact,
Ed focuses on legacy brands for engineering and manufacturing companies specifically.
That's right.
Brands that have kind of been really strong brands, but have kind of lost their way.
Exactly. In fact, that's a good subject line, Rhonda.
Yeah, there you go. You're welcome.
Thank you.
And we came to that in doing like some positioning work, but the thing with this is like he did a postcard mailing, and then the idea is for people to do the scorecard
Right.
How's
Yeah.
your legacy brand doing, kind of thing.
Right.
And
That's
then
call
they
to
have
action.
to, do they have to put their email in? Yeah, so they have to put their email in to get to the scorecard. But again, it has to be something juicy, and you have to be bringing traffic to your site.
Right. And it's and the thing about the sign up, it's it's super easy. We don't ask for a lot of information, just enough that
You want to
get
make
back
it
in
like
touch.
name, email, done,
Right.
like easy.
Yeah.
You don't want them to start having to put in all sorts of information. But that's one way. Other ways, like how to have people got their list going. What about you, Vasile? You said you've got a list?
Yeah, so my list is composed of prospects that reach out for initial meetings. And so I would say if you have a website, don't change your contact form too often, because you're going to lose all of your whoever's reaching out to you. But I have it throughout the years. I've used the same thing, and I just in the back end it collects the information that I need. When you compose your contact forms, make sure you ask for first, last name, basic info, obviously their email address, that type of thing. But I don't have 10,000 people, but the people that I do have on my list are companies, if I could say that. They're companies that reached out with this need. And while I don't work with every company that reaches out, it helps to know that you're reaching out to somebody that had an initial interest. I would not recommend purchasing out leads. I've tried that out in the past, and it did not turn out well. But that's my words of wisdom.
So you have a contact form on your, when it says contact, they go to a form, fill it in, and then their name goes into your list. Right. And I was going to say, it doesn't have to be quantity. It's more quality. If you've got the right people in there. Were you going to say something, Connie?
Does HubSpot help with that, Vasile? Don't they do lead generation stuff too?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
HubSpot, don't they do lead generation and list development? You said you were using HubSpot.
Yeah, I just jumped onto HubSpot. I don't use it for that as of now. I might in the future. I don't do any email marketing. I'm looking to possibly get into that. But yeah.
I think one of our other group members, Danielle's using HubSpot.
Yeah, they're just getting going.
Yeah, they're just getting going, but it sounded pretty impressive what they do. It's a monthly fee, but it sounded interesting. The other thing is to pay attention to your email signature and, what you've got, like what you've got there and what links you've got in your signature, because people will click on mine all the time. I'll put the link to my website, or I'll put the link to joining this membership. I'll say join the accelerator group with a link to the page. So I'm always putting a little something below my signature that'll say, hey, check this out or check that out. Something that I'll either take them to a blog or to my blog or to my site or somewhere that I want people to look. So make sure, your signature is important. It's another marketing opportunity. And think about, a call to action or what you want them to do when they see that. But yeah, remember, I only sent that one email to 20 people, that one that said, is your business development person wasting your time? And it was so bang on that, a bunch of people wrote me, and then one person wanted to work with me. So it's the quality. It's the quality of the email, the quality of the subject line, and it's the quality of the leads of the people you're sending them to. And I always test mine. I use it's called GetResponse. I've used MailChimp in the past, but I've got a bigger list now, and I use GetResponse. And I always test, of course I apologize, there's the odd typo, but I always put it through. There's a free app called Grammarly that you can check everything. Like you can drop all your copy in there and it spell checks it and checks it for grammar. I have the free one. There's a paid one too, where they'll have advanced grammar corrections, but I just use the basic one. But I always send myself a test first, and then every once in a while it goes into my spam. It's interesting because it'll come to me most of the time, but every once in a while I have a subject line that might be a little spammy, and it'll go into, and I send it to myself, and then I go to my email to look, and I'm like, oh, it didn't come through. That's weird, because usually you get it in 2 seconds when you do a test. So then I start looking around and I find them in my spam folder. So, and then I go and I change the subject and I keep trying different things till it comes through to me. But again, there's only so much you can do about that. Some of these systems will warn you that it could be perceived as spam, and then you can change it. Anybody have any other questions? Makes sense about sort of juicier topics?
See.
Yeah. For me, this really knocked me out of as I've been, and I do postcards instead of emails right now. I'd like to do emails, but I tend to be very general in the topics. And this really helped me think about being very specific to be more relevant. I think that this was great. This is very helpful.
Okay, you're welcome. Philip, it sounds like you do a lot of emailing. Was this helpful?
It is. I think I might be in a little bit of a different situation. So we're a global consulting firm, but we really run new business out of New York. So we have to do like global campaigns, and each one of our mailings, goes out to, between like 500 and 1,000 people or something like that. So it's helpful. We also take a little bit more of an approach, less of like a sales email, more of, we've created this great piece of thought leadership and try to get them to engage with that and interact with that, that's where like the issue comes with us for like security and actually like getting people to click on these links, right, or like download these PDFs. Right. And
do
so
they?
on, so.
Do they?
No. We get our open rates are probably around like 18%, which is not. I mean, it's a fair amount of people for the audience size. But then our click-through rate in the links is about. We'll get like maybe like 1 or 2 people out of like 500,
which is pretty low. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's great that you can get that data too from these programs. Like I can see when I send something out and it was a bust, but I get like 25. My average is 25, 30%, and sometimes I've gotten higher. And I've got a list of like close to 5,000. So, but yeah, sometimes the click through can be lowish. But a 20, I think what I've read is a 20-ish% is pretty good.
For open or click-through?
For open. Click-through is way lower. Like click-through, for me, it could be like 4% would be really good. Sometimes it's less than 1%. But for open rates, if you're getting 20% around there, you're doing pretty good. I had something else I wanted to say. What was that? Can't remember. It'll come back to me. So, yeah, so it can really work well for you. And the other thing with these programs is I've done where I've come up with, 3 months worth of stuff and just wrote it all in and scheduled it all and done. So it's not like I'm having to, because I have the same issue as all you guys, where like I'm trying to do everything and I'm limited for time. So I found that I take, a few hours and write like 5 or 6 and then schedule them in, a month apart or whatever. And I've got 6 months of stuff going out there. And then I put like a note in my calendar, revisit the email. Because I think also it's the regularity. And the other thing is, that's what I wanted to tell you. Sometimes people show up like a year or 2 later. Like you just don't know. You just keep putting stuff out there, and they say it takes like 8 points of contact to actually really engage someone. And so you just keep putting stuff out, and like I get these calls out of nowhere that like someone will say, I've been following your stuff for like the last 3 years, and then I knew that when I was ready I wanted to work with you. So, you may think it's not doing anything, but it just creates a whole energy around your business. And it's very important, the regularity of it. Like whether you just want to do once a month or once every 2 months, or, you decide what feels right for you, the amount of time. But it's really important to like put a plan together around it and then schedule it out. Like write the stuff. You may need a writer to help you, get someone to write them. You can, now that you have sort of this framework, you can pick the topics, get somebody writing them if you don't have the time or if you don't like writing, and schedule them. And then you can like forget about it. You won't even remember what days they're going. And then all of a sudden somebody will write you and say, thanks for the email today, and I have a question. So you just never know. Any other final questions? We need to start wrapping up in a couple minutes. So I just wanted to show you guys something. Some of you are here for the first time, and then a lot of you are members and keep coming back. So if you want to be a member, we do this every 2 weeks, and there's a lot of benefits to it. Keeps you motivated, keeps you supported, keeps you with new ideas. Our next topic is March 22nd, save time on proposals and increase your close rate. And April 5th, how to put a referral program in place. I've got all the topics listed out on a special page for members. And then I wanted to just quickly show you what I'm putting together here that will be available for everybody. Where is it? Here, I'm putting together a website for members, and it'll be all the past topics, and you'll be able to get the upcoming topics, but you'll be able to go back, and I'm putting in all the past topics with all the recordings and worksheets and everything. And then I'm also putting in all different things I've done, the 5 questions webinar, different inspirational things, what's stopping you from making more money, and what the design firm of the future looks like. So I'm putting all this in, and I'll send you. It's not fully loaded yet, but if you guys want to, I don't know, do you want to like sneak preview it? Should I send you a link? Okay.
Yeah,
so don't get mad at me if you click on something and it's not live yet. I'm just like, because I have material from everywhere that I'm compiling and putting into this thing. But I'll send you guys all a link, and you can snoop around and look at, and we talked about the 5 questions last time. 5 questions you need to ask before you even think about meeting a client. And I sent you guys the link to that webinar. Did you get it? I know, Vasile, you were particularly interested.
Yes.
So now it's going to be on here. So there'll be stuff like that that you can just access. And I think that's everything for today, unless anyone has any final questions, comments. Don't be afraid of email marketing. Are you guys afraid?
A little bit.
I think, like you said, I love the idea. I didn't even think about the fact that you could you could do it in a big chunk. Like say, okay, you can write all of these, make sure they're all consistent, schedule them all, and then just forget about it. And I think that will feel wonderful.
Yeah.
It'll be done, and just to get it done.
Exactly. And if you're, and as I said, the first time I did it, I was extremely fearful that I was going to be bothering people and adding to the noise and all that. But then you do it once, you get the confidence, then you do it again, and it just kind of, you start to get motivated and confident, and you get some good responses, and you're sort of on your way. So it's just that one time that's the scariest. And there's always, and be prepared. There's always going to be depending, I've got a huge list. Somebody always writes me something not, that's not the nicest thing. But I mostly get really positive responses. I don't take it personally. Who knows what kind of day they're having. Once in a while, some people write valuable feedback, which I appreciate. And then some people just sort of vent or whatever. And it hardly ever happens, but it's just once in a while it happens. So, don't worry about that. If you get something negative coming to you, don't worry. If somebody opts out, I used to freak when somebody opted out of my list. I'd take it so personally, and I'd be like, oh my God, they don't like me, and go into that whole thing. But now I'm like, you know what? Great. They weren't aligned. They weren't the right person to be on my list. So who cares? I'd rather have the people that really are interested and want to be on my list than people that if it's not relevant to you. I don't want to be bugging you with all this content. So that's another thing to kind of watch for. It definitely brings up some of your stuff. Yeah. All this stuff, all this marketing, and it just brings up stuff for everybody. But it's just another opportunity to work on yourself, and don't take it personally, and all those things that we talk about all the time. Great. So that's it. I'm going to sign off. I'm meeting with Dana for a few minutes, so I'll to hang back and sign off with everybody else. Great to see you all. Thank you. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Great.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Hey, Rhonda.
Yeah? Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. I forgot what time you want to do it tomorrow?
I think, I thought of that as soon as I saw you. I don't have my calendar. Hang on, let me just look at my phone. Does 4 work?
4? Yeah, that's good. Let's do 4. That's fine. That gives me, good. 4.
Okay.
4 p.m. Beautiful.
We'll see you tomorrow at 4.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Hi.
Hi. I'm late today.
That's okay.
I missed the first half, so I guess I'll have to catch up on the when you post it.
Yeah, I'll post it, and then I'll send everybody the link to the new site.
Okay. I'm excited because I actually did listen to the webinar, and it was great. I took all his notes, and I've actually
good.
used it already. So.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And this is a huge anxiety area for me, like you were saying, so I can really relate. So, yeah, this is an area I need to work on myself a lot.
So The email marketing thing, like putting yourself, or just putting yourself out there.
Yes, I really am, and honestly, I think I told you this the first session. I'm not really an out there. I don't have a website. I've been fortunate enough to get steady work this whole last 5 years, and now, like I said, I've kind of reached a plateau, which is, some of my own doing because I haven't been actively, looking for new business. And my main client, my Georgia State client, I think there's some issues there because I haven't heard from her and I don't know how to handle it. So I kind of wanted to talk to you about that. I've got some potential new business that I'm not sure how to handle because I had the one which was kind of reminded me of the call we had last time. It's actually my roofer. So he's been helping me, repairs and stuff like that. And he asked me, what is it you do again? And so I told him, and he's like, oh, I need to do some advertising. He just spent $20,000 redoing his website, and he kind of threw out a bunch of things.
$20,000? Oh my God.
Yes.
And he's a roofer?
I know. And he's been in the business for 20 years.
That's a lot. You froze. Are you still there? Oops.